I've had a couple of times where I wrote to senators and congressmen, which I'm in process of doing again. And I know most of them very well as in a professional way when I was involved in tribal government. I've been kept out of tribal government for 11 years now. And I think, it might not sound like I'm bragging on myself, I think that's hurt Indian country. Because I did a lot of good when I was in there. And maybe they don't want honest people around in this industry. But I know even in this industry, and I'm not running all tribes down because I see some good work out there too in some of the tribes. I see some, and I'm proud of that. Don't get me wrong, I'm proud of some of that. But for the most part, it doesn't look good. And again, I go back to those same people that I worked so hard with to develop policy, to get more allocations for the small and needy tribes of California. How many times I went back to Washington to fight for those so we can get more money. And we did, we were successful. And then gaming came. And we're not in control anymore. Tribes are not in control. I don't think sovereignty was meant to have investors run our governments from behind the scenes. I don't think that's the way it was designed. And it's funny, the guilty parties come at me and try to turn everything around, turn the truth around. How do you do that? How do you turn the truth around? You can only do that on a tribal level and lie to your own people, lie to your own children, lie to your own relatives to make it okay. If they complain too much, oh, buy them a car. I'll make them be quiet for a year. People, if we want to get respected as governments, we have to do a better job than this. You know, our government, our senators, our congressmen, some of them have really demonstrated a lack of responsibility. And they're being exposed. And that's a slap in the face of this country. But it's just, our tribal governments are mocking them. They're doing the same thing these senators are, thinking they get away with just taking money that shouldn't be going their way. It should be going to programs, housing programs to better their tribes. We're still fighting for housing in Scotts Valley. My niece is being evicted Wednesday. That would be August 11th by her cousins, because they were ordered to do that by an administrator that works for us. Now this isn't right. Our Constitution says, for the best interests of the band, for the health and welfare of the tribal members of Scotts Valley. Is this anywhere close to being to the best interests of the tribe? I ask you. And now I read online that the market for new gaming, tribal gaming, is very low. Investors aren't looking at tribal governments like they looked at them before, for lack of accountability, for the infighting that goes on. They don't want to take the chance. So they're very low right now. It's hard to get a deal. That was bound to happen, again, in this industry. We have tribal governments that are the tribal council, and they are also the housing authority, which is a conflict of interest, because that's too much control. and then you turn your hiring over to a tribal administrator without any review from a personnel committee. In fact, they terminated in Scotts Valley, they terminated our personnel committee. And now the administrator, he hires whoever he wants to hire. I never believed this would have happened in Scotts Valley. Under my watch, it would have never have happened. We fired an administrator who was getting too big for their pants. But when you have weak leadership, this is what happens. In the case of my niece, going to court for, she just submitted her papers today. How could you go to court and have the court tell you you have to be evicted out of a house that you're part owner in? Somebody's going to have to explain that one to me. I'm going to be talking with HUD in depth on this because I want to learn more about this housing. And I want to learn all the guidelines to the HUD 184 program, I believe. And I will do it. The one key thing in my life, I want to see my tribe, no matter who they are, with their own houses before I pass on. I want to see them own their own houses. I don't want them paying any investor for rent or lease or mortgages. I don't want to see that. That's not what this was about. When you have an option for a casino, you should have your whole housing program paid for. That was my goal when I was chairman. And right now we would have had our housing in place. I commend some of the other tribes for their housing. They've done well in their housing areas. And I feel so sorry for my tribe, Scotts Valley, because it's going to be a long time before they learn from their mistakes. And by then, the opportunity may have faded. Like I say, I have a history of tribal government, and I was so proud to fight for all the tribes in California. And a lot of those people that I work with now are probably close to retirement. And like I said, I was chairman of both advisory committees at the Bureau of Indian Affairs to advise the Bureau of Indian Affairs, not to just agree with them. And I was the liaison to the first Caltrans meetings with the state of California. Remember, in those days, the state would hardly even talk to the tribes. They didn't believe in the tribes. Well, we did a lot of liaison work back then, which I'm very proud of, and there was a lot of people that worked very hard on those, getting that relationship started. And now we have liaisons in the state of California. We have tribal liaisons. And hopefully those people take their jobs real serious. As I heard the last time that I spoke with anybody, we had some very good people in place with Caltrans. I don't think there's any replacement or any kind of substitute for one thing in tribal government, and that's honesty. Because when you're honest, you don't care what's taken away from you, because you will always have that. It's what our elders taught us how to be, and that's honest. And to respect the Pomo culture, to respect our culture, to honor the elders, to take care of our people. A leader takes care of his people. The shirt bearer takes care of his people. He doesn't manipulate his people and make money off his people. Sovereign governments. Is that what we are? Or have you made that a joke? If you could see the people who fought so hard to get our sovereignty recognized, and to see this day and age which some of these tribal councils are doing, is an embarrassment. You won't take that money to your grave. You look at all your money that you have. Do you hear any laughter in that money? How many steaks can you eat? How many cocktails can you drink? When you could have been sponsoring a youth club, taking your kids on a tour, take them to Hawaii, take them to Marine World, and you be there as tribal council members, not just push it off onto somebody else. Take your foster care seriously. Take your housing seriously. Make them your goals. Don't use them for manipulation. I ask you, what is important to you? To be what you think is rich, or be respected by your people? So all the money in the world will not get you that respect. It will never get you that respect. And like I say, I'm a Pomo Indian. I take strongly to my Pomo side, my grandma's side. And I believe in the Pomo way here, with my mountain Kanaktai. And I believe in the woman in the lake, Lupiomia. That's who I am.